In today's video, I am showing you how to go from this to this. Hey, welcome back to a new video. Today's video, we are going to take the Maxxair fan out and put it back in. When I got back from my travel to Portugal last winter, she hadn't been leaking. When we got back, we washed the van very thorough. She leaked. My dad temporarily put some, stuff on there to try and seal it. It has been sealed, but I knew it was a temporary fix. Temporary fix. It looks horrendous. There's a whole story about it. I'll tell it in a sec. But it's morning. I got everything here. I have a, what's that called? The thing. What's it called? I have to look that up. A steiger. The Dutch word is steiger. So I can get up on the roof. I have everything here. But what I'm doing is I'm making a salad so that once I get hungry I can just pop in the van, eat my salad, eat some bread, and then continue. So I'm meal prepping for today. And I want to show you the recipe because I found this really cool salad and it has rode kool in it. Red cabbage? I think that's red cabbage. I'm gonna make it quick and then I'm gonna show you what we're doing today because there's a lot of things happening. Let's get to the salad and let's get to the explanation. Okay, so now that the salad is marinating and that I can eat later, I can tell you about my Maxxair fan. When I started my van build, one of the first thing I did was install the bunk window and install the Maxxair fan. I researched thoroughly on what I needed to do. Cutting the hole and everything went great. I installed it, everything looked great. When I was in Portugal, I think it's now 2024, 2022, I think, or maybe beginning 2023. I was in Portugal. We got massive rain pouring. Water came out. There was a leak at the back. There was something wrong with the screw. And I was in Portugal by myself and I didn't feel comfortable doing it on my own because I didn't have a spot to take it off, reinstall it, or fix it. I didn't feel comfortable doing that on my own because I was alone and I didn't have the right equipment and I didn't have any help, so I felt I didn't have space to do it, so I didn't feel comfortable. Then I looked up a person in Portugal and it's a Dutch man doing some camper service stuff, and he told me he could do it for 70 euros, and I thought, okay, why am I even gonna try? Let's just go up there. I went up there, he took the old one out, he took this off, he cut this cord, he took it off, he reinstalled it very quickly. I helped him with stuff, I was keeping an eye, but I didn't like the way he was working, and he used a sealant. I can look up what it is, I still have it, I can name here what it is. He made a whole lot of mess. So I kept keeping an eye on it. It was way more expensive. I had to pay 150 or 140 euros, which kind of got me upset because that made me think I could have done it myself. Then it looked messy. I've been cleaning my roof and my solar panels regularly in the year, and I kept noticing there were scratches that were starting to rust. It's not looking good. It's starting to sag. and I already wanted to do it again myself better. And then I got back in the Netherlands in, I think, April 2024, and we washed the roof very thorough. Water came in. So my dad temporarily put some black caulk, is that the word, on it, and I need to take everything off now and replace it entirely. There's a couple of things that I think may have gone wrong when I installed this one the first time around. One of the things is that I don't have a wooden frame on the inside. I didn't think that was necessary. I still don't really know if that's a necessary step, but it's an extra precaution to keep the Maxxair fan tight. How do you say that? To keep the caulk constructed between the wood and the metal and the Maxxair fan thing. I think it will help. But my sealing can't easily come out. I could take it out. It's going to be a hassle. I'm not doing that. I'm probably going to damage the sealing when I do that. So yesterday I prepped. I took all the insulation that was too close out. I cleaned it as much as I can. I saw rust coming through some of the screw holes, so I already put some rust preventative stuff on there last night, so I can clean that today and hopefully put some paint on there. And I am going to use a wooden frame on the inside this time around to lock everything in place. I think it'll help. It might. The second problem I think happened is that I cleaned the roof with wasbenzine. I don't know what the English word is. I'll look it up. But what I've now discovered is that wasbenzine leaves an oily trace, so it's not the best for preparing your surface. So that might have been an issue the first time around. I don't really know what the man used the second time around. I got a different product today. I got this degreaser, so this should be better and not leave any residue. I've seen this everywhere. I've researched a lot again, and I came to a couple of adhesive sealant type of things that I wanted to use. In the end, I just picked one. I don't know if it's the best one. I don't know. There were two things that I was hesitant about. One was that this is going to be the third time I'm taking it off. So I figured it would be nice if I use adhesive that you'll be able to take off easily, because if you have to like break everything to take it off, that's going to be a hassle. But that's not the mindset. I want to be putting this for the third time on there. My mindset has to be, I'm going to put it on there for the rest of its life. I don't want to replace it anymore. But that's hard because it's going to be the third time, and up to now it's been fairly easy. Oh, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for today. But it's been fairly easy to replace because it's kind of, it's like a caulk or kit that stays very flexible, so you can kind of easily take it off. But that's not the mindset I have for now, which I am kind of frightened about, because the stuff I'm going to use today is marine stuff that you can use for boats, and it's probably never ever going to come off again. But that's also what we want. Now, so let me show you what I got for that. I got this, which is Sikaflex 291Y. And I kind of made a boo-boo because I was looking at prices, so I got the cheaper one. But this is a smaller container. I got two because I'm going to be putting two things on. But I think this will be enough. Now, another thing that I'm thinking is an issue is that I did not fill up the gaps. My roof has grooves, and I never filled that up. At the beginning, I looked at so many videos and I didn't really see people fill it up. Sometimes I saw them fill it up with some sort of tape, and I chose not to do that. I've been looking into so many things, and I also have to say that when I was installing it, the Maxxair fan on itself was so expensive. I thought this will be good enough. This time around, I got an adapter. I can link in the description where I got it. This is my adapter. This is what I got. It's from Germany. And this should be perfect to fit... Can I show it? To fit all the grooves. It'll fill up all this. So I've now have gunk in all of this. And my new installment will be just a little thin layer. And of course screwed down. It's also screwed down. Now when I took everything off, I do see that most of the leakage has been on the screw holes. So I did top off the screw holes. I did put stuff on there to close them. Maybe I didn't do it right. But I see that some of the screw holes have rust on them, which shouldn't be. Another thing that I may have done wrong is that when I get the stuff off, how do you say that? If the gunk comes out, you want to afstrijken is I think the Dutch word. You want to get the remains off and you want to make it look nice. I like to use wipes for that. These are cleaning wipes. But I also read that that's not a good thing to use because that might have an interaction with the kit to make it not settle or make it not work. I don't know exactly how that works. This time around, I got this one. This was recommended together with this. And I figured, let's just get it all and let's just do it right. Third time's the charm, it'll be perfect. I am, at the moment, a little bit scared shitless because at the moment, it's not leaking. At this very moment, it doesn't seem to be a problem. But it's summertime, rain is coming, I don't know where I'll be in the future. I want this sorted out, put on there better, and then hopefully have it be sorted out for the rest of eternity. Because having your fan leak sucks big time. So, first thing I'm gonna do is get up on the roof. And I've measured over and over and over that this should be the perfect one. I've measured it countless times. But what I'm going to do now is get up on the roof, place it over the Maxxair fan thing that's on the roof, that's been put on the roof, and see if it's the perfect match. If it's not, abort mission. So this is what we are working with at the moment. And this is what he did when he took everything off. So this is the old stuff that I used. There's actually still some on here, as you can see. And it's still flexible. But here is already, you can look through here. So this should be perfect, as you can see. It should line up perfect. So this should be correct. And what it's going to do is it's going to fill up these gaps. So there are a lot of gaps because these are like bridges. So this should be filled up, which is going to be awesome. Okay, so outside the adapter should be perfect. First thing I need to do here is take the wire apart so that it is loose so it can go out. I'm thinking so I can take it off. I was thinking, like, is there going to be electricity on the wire? I think so. Can I just take it apart? Will I get electrocuted, or is it just 12 volts, so it doesn't really matter? How does that work? Guess we'll find out.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, okay. Oops. It worked. I'll just cut this one too. So, okay. Let's put this on. Okay. I don't want to accidentally move them back there and then install wood and everything and then won't be able to reach it. So I taped it over there. Okay, well that was step one. Took me 40 minutes. That's not a good sign for the rest of the day. Let's get up on the roof. Very important. Put sunscreen on my tattoo. So I wanted to explain why it took me 40 minutes to take the wire apart, because my first strategy was to unclamp the clamp that he put on there. I really wanted to save the wire, but I tried to unclamp that, but I couldn't, so in the end I decided to just cut the wire, which was also quite scary. But everything worked, so now I had to take off these 4 screws, so then it comes out on the top. It gets so dirty. I always clean it from the inside, but there are parts you just can't reach. Now I have to take out all the screws which are attaching it to the roof. These are also not the screws that I used, because when the man in Portugal reinstalled it, he used self-tapping anti-rust screws, and that one is actually a really big screw because that hole had been rusting, so he decided to just make a bigger hole with a bigger screw, which these things kind of agitated me because he finished the job in 2 hours and I actually spent all day doing this. Also because I had to repair all the damages he did to the roof. I have to tell you guys that taking this sealant out was so much fun. I was just listening to a podcast, and sometimes some people I knew were passing by. They were talking to me like, "What are you doing on the roof?" I was just sitting there in the sun, in the fresh breeze. It was so much fun. But this sealant is so flexible. It's like playing with silly putty. So I didn't mind this step. And I just took all my time because I didn't want to bend the Maxxair, what is that called? Like the frame that's still on the roof. I didn't want to bend it because I did see that when he took everything off the last time, he kind of used force. And he bended it in some places, but he also scratched the hell out of the thing. But yeah, this was lots of fun to do. Now to prevent the roof from damaging more, I'm using these little orange devices. I don't know what they're called. My dad has these. And they are perfect for getting in the creases without being scared to damage the roof. Because they are very blunt and very gentle on the metal. And they can go right in there and pick out all of the little sealant that you can't reach. And they go right in there. It's so much fun. This was the most fun part of all of it, I think. Once I've gotten enough out, I'm able to flip it over and get it off without bending it. And I am kind of in a time rush today because it's been beautiful weather all the time. But today we are going to get heavy rains at the end of the day. And the weather forecast kept changing,
kept pushing it further back in the day. But just to be sure, I texted somebody that has this big shed that I fit in to ask her if the rain is coming and I'm not finished, or if it's just finished and the rain is coming, if I could go to her place. So I'm waiting for her to respond, and that'll give me some peace of mind working on this. But I've now taken it off, so I have to finish it anyway. But yeah, I'm really happy that it came off this easy. I'm a little bit shooketh by the amount of damage that he did that I never saw, which was under all of the rest of the sealant. So now that most of it is off, it is time to get the degreaser out. Now I'm using the Motip degreaser, and I'm using toilet paper to take the sealant off. I also have some fabric cloths that I will use in the end to clean the roof when there's no longer sealant on, but I don't want to be spreading this solved adhesive all over the roof again. So I just take new pieces of toilet paper at the time and I put them in the trash bag when I'm done, so it doesn't get blown off of the car by the wind. Now in the front here, you can see that the roof is really dirty, and this happens because water wants to run down off of the van onto the front, but because the Maxxair fan is on there, there kind of remains a little puddle in the back of the Maxxair fan, and I've noticed this before, and I always try and clean it often. But because of all of the sealant that was sitting on top of the little ridges, it kind of created this little bridge for water to stay behind there. And I have noticed after doing it the way I'm doing it right now, less water has been standing on there because there's less sealant keeping it on the roof. So to give you an idea, here's the before. And you can see on the ridges there's a thick layer of sealant, which is actually making the water stay on there longer. Now it's important to keep in mind that at the back where you see the black sealant, my dad had already cut a little bit back so he could put the black sealant on there because we needed to have a temporary fix for when I came back in April. Because I have to spray the roof with fixing all the cuts that the man in Portugal made, I am cleaning a lot of surface around. I'm not cleaning the entire roof because A, I have no time, and B, that's for another day. I will do that another day. But I'm cleaning as much as I can and making it as nice as I can. But oh my god, look at everything he did. Mind you, when I put the Maxxair fan on, this was all nice and white, and he made so many cuts in the roof. He just used this like Stanley knife to take it all off and just cut up this entire part of the roof. I am so shooketh. Like, this is a professional. I paid him to do this job for me, and this is what he did. But as you can see, I have my work cut out for me to get this all looking nice again. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to use 3 types of sandpaper. I have 80, 240, and 400 grit. And I'm using 80 to get started on the spots that are rusted, and then make it nice with the 40 grit. And I'm just going over and over, and I just sand a little bit and then use the degreaser to clean it, sand a little bit, use the degreaser to clean it. And now I'm going in with the Newvanventures that will invert the rust so I can later spray paint it. This is the product I use. After sanding most of the rust away and preparing the surface, I put that on there. I let it sit for a while. It will have a chemical reaction with the rust. In the meantime, I will be able to have some lunch before I will prep it all again to start spray painting. So here you can see that all the bits that had just even a little bit of rust, I put the Newvanventures on to prevent it from coming back and preparing it to be spray painted later.
So, it's now almost 1 o'clock. It's time to have my wonderful salad. I'm happy I made that, because I wouldn't feel relaxed enough to make it right now. I got a text from the person who lives nearby who has a big ass, like, it's a building that you can just drive in, like trucks can get in there. And she said, I'll be home after 3. So that would be welcome. So if I need more time or if I'm not going to be finished, I can go there, and I really love that that's an option. Now I'm going to have a little lunch, and then the next thing I have to do is clean this up, get this ready. But getting the stuff off is really satisfying. It's like playing with Play-Doh sticky stuff. So I'm not mad about it, and I can do it inside because it's getting a little bit warm. And it's looking good. I'm really happy I took everything off. He left some stuff on there from the previous gunk caulk stuff, and I took everything off, and it's looking fly. Once I took everything off, you can see the enormous damage he did to the roof. So many cuts. He's just been cutting in the roof. It's ridiculous. Now I have to say that the stuff that he was taking off was less flexible than this stuff. But it's just, he was just in a time rush. There was somebody there that was being helped after me. And it's just ridiculous. He just cut up the entire roof. Well, not the entire roof, but like all around where the fan is. Luckily, most of the cuts were under the caulk or this stuff. So that didn't really get rusty. Some of it did. I put Novirox on it, which is going to get the rust out of there. I don't even know what that's called, but it's going to like invert rust. I don't know. And then I can prime it, spray it. So when I have had my lunch, I'll probably clean it and do the base coat, and then I'll start doing that one. But first, let's have a snack and watch a little series, because it always helps me calm down and unwind. I'm already calmer than I was when I started, because I didn't want to get... I was just anxious to get started, and now I can't leave it like this. I have to finish it anyway, so... Now we have time until like in the night, because now we have a place where we can finish on their roof if we would need to. Let's have something to eat.
So after I had my wonderful salad, I was going to take off all of the adhesive that was still on the inside of the Maxxair fan thing. And the way I took this off, because it has ridges, you can't really fit your device in there. I just got some of it off, made a little ball, and then just start stamping it on there and getting the remains off. For topping off the screws, he had used a different sealant which was a little bit more sturdy, so I just used the orange thing to scratch that off gently, and then the degreaser to clean it all off. I forgot to film the spraying with the base coat. I used these spray paints. The left one is the primer I used, and the right one is the color I'm using. Now, it took me so long to figure out what color my van is. I couldn't find it on any of the stickers in my van. Luckily, my dad helped out, and I came to the conclusion that my 2010 Sprinter van color is Arctic White. The Mercedes-Benz color code is 9147 or sometimes 147, and that is the same as the Motip Compact Car Paint color 45320. So after mildly sanding everything with 400 grit and using the degreaser, I'm now shaking this can, because you need to shake paint very well, very thorough, and then I'm ready to start spraying the color on. I am not using the Arctic White color because this one is cheaper, and I'm using a lot of it because I'm also going to be treating other rust spots on the van. So I just decided to go for a little bit of cheaper option. And I don't really care if it's exactly the same color, as long as it's just basically the same color. And yeah, I'm just spraying away, and making it all look nice so that I'll have time to let it harden. I'm also going in a little bit of the edges because that had some rust on it. I'm just making sure that everything is nicely coated. I am 99% sure there's not any water ever going in there again, but just to be sure, I want it to be nice. Now it's time to get started on the wooden frame. I'm not making it the exact same size. Oh, there's a wasp!
I don't like wasps. Well, I like them. As a creature existing in the world, I don't like them close to my body. That's what I don't like about them. Go away, babes. Go hang out somewhere else.
So as I was saying, I'm not making the wood the exact width of the Maxxair thing, because some of the screws are a little bit more on the outside of the frame and I don't want the wood to split, so I'm making it a little bit longer. I have to keep in mind though that they're originally inside of the roof, so I also have to make sure that it fits in between there. So I'm just cutting 4 spots out that'll fit somewhat in the middle. And when I know that it fits on the frame, I'm going to look at how it's going to be sitting on the inside of the roof. Now, if my ceiling wouldn't have been installed, I would have screwed these together and made it fit like a frame on the inside of the roof. But because my ceiling is already installed and the hole in the ceiling isn't as big as this frame, it wouldn't fit in there, so I cannot attach them to each other. I will be attaching them to the frame of the Maxxair on the outside to the inside, but I cannot attach the frame onto itself. I will be able to install some corner parts, but I don't think that's necessary. So as you can see here on the inside of the roof, there are some double metal parts which create some sort of ridge, and the screw holes are very close to that. So to prevent the wood from splitting, I am creating a little bit of a gap in the wood so that it'll sit nice in the middle of the screw holes and then it'll hold nice and tight. Here I am taping the adapter to the frame to pre-drill all the holes that are going to be needed when I start putting the screws in, because I didn't want any of these white little things that are coming out in my adhesive. So I'm just prepping the frame so that it'll fit. So now I'm ready to get back onto the roof using the scaffolding, and I'm taking everything out of my bag, and as I'm doing so and preparing everything, I'm looking around and it's starting to look a little bit hazy, and I'm thinking, okay, let's just go into the shed because there's probably hey, there's a girl in the back, there's a girl doing a little dance. And that made this really cool transition. Now we are in the shed, and I'm so happy that we got to use this because we got massive rain pour in the evening. So I'm very happy that we were in here. I'm checking everything, seeing if everything's there. I'm setting up my little station. I do have my cleaning wipes there, but that's just for my own hands if they get dirty and I need to clean it off. So I don't want to make any mistakes, so I'm degreasing everything again because we also went for a little ride. I'm degreasing the frame, I'm degreasing the adapter, I'm just stacking it, seeing if everything's okay. This is how I found out I forgot to drill a couple of the holes that I will be drilling now. When I'm stacking everything, I'm checking if everything's there, if everything's all right. But also the Maxxair frame has a front and a side, so you need to put it in the right way, otherwise your Maxxair will be sideways on your van. So in my head, I'm going through all the steps that I have in mind before putting any adhesive on. So I'm seeing what's the front, I'm looking on the inside if the wood is correct. I perked it up with a little bit of toilet paper so that it stays in the right side. I'm pre-drilling really small tiny holes to prevent it from cracking when I put the screws through, because I want the wood to stay in one piece. I'm just drilling everything, checking everything, seeing if everything's all right, because once you start getting the adhesive on, you need to do everything right in a pretty fast order to not make any mistakes and screw it up. So that's why I'm checking everything, getting everything ready. Now, of course, I touched the roof again with drilling the holes, so I have to degrease again. I just keep prepping, and then seeing if everything's there, checking how the adhesive opens up, and just get everything ready to start putting the stuff on. So at this point, I'm going through all the steps in my head that I'll be doing in a moment and seeing if I have everything here that I'm going to use. I'm seeing if the screws will fit nicely, if I need to adjust the frame in any way, but it looks nice, I'll just leave it like this. I'm checking if everything is close by that I need. I'm going through all the steps, like, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that. How does this work? How does that work? Is it open? Is it closed? I'm going through everything. I got 2 pieces that I wanted to use to get the excess adhesive off. So I'm seeing which one will give the best result. And I'm going for the little piece of wood that'll go work. And I forgot something downstairs that I'm taking. I got this really cool cart that goes up and down to get up and down of the roof. And now I'm starting to use the adhesive. I'm going for it. This is kind of nerve-wracking, but you need to start somewhere. And this, I have to say, if you're going to use this stuff, please get the 300 milliliters, because I accidentally got the 2 times 70 and it was enough. I had to scrape like every little bit out of it. I had to cut them open to get every little bit out to have enough to put on top of the screws. So if you want to be relaxed and just use the big can, please do so. I never knew I got these small ones. Otherwise I would have gotten the bigger ones. And it works very nice. It's a very nice setup. The adhesive that I'm using is the Sikaflex 291Y. And I chose that because it's good with sunlight, it's good with seawater, salt water, it's good with lots of stuff. So I figured this one will work. And I'm degreasing everything again and now putting it on. This part was a little bit nerve-wracking to me because I had already put the adhesive on the adapter. It's already on there. I didn't really push it on there yet because I wanted to push it on there with the screws. But this made me feel like I had to rush, which I don't think this stuff settles that fast that you need to rush, but it kind of felt like I need to rush. But it's going great. I'm doing good. It's going great. Once I have everything stacked up nicely, I'm pushing it down a little bit, seeing if everything is in its place, and then screwing down gently. I got new screws. They are RVS screws. I think they are 4x4. And I'm going from corners to the middle to the corner, and then gently getting them tighter and tighter and making sure that the wood on the inside is in the right place so that it's catching onto the frame. And I already like this setup more than just the screws in the ceiling. It's giving vibes that it's more tight and it's looking really nice. I really like how it's looking. But yeah, I'm trying to get it all nice and get all the excess out. I am noticing that in the front here, there's a little bit less adhesive. So I am putting a little bit more adhesive in there later. So if you would have had more adhesive, you would have had more coming out. And because I had enough instead of a lot of excess, I had to put on a little bit more. I don't know if you can see it, but right here in the front, there was a little bit less adhesive. I had to put on a little bit more there. But it's looking great. I'm scraping off the excess with the wood, so it's giving a really nice clear finish. And I'm really excited about how that looked. This is looking way better than it did before. Here you can see I had put a little bit more adhesive in there. And I am using my finger, but I used the yellow Sikaflex stuff to put it on my finger like a sort of a lubricant and then get a really nice cut. It's looking really nice. I'm very excited about this outcome. I also put the same adhesive on the top of the screws and it's looking very tight. And as you can see on the ridges, it's lower now, so water can go by faster. Here you can see what it looks like on the inside. I had some 5mm, I guess, Armaflex left, so I decided to put that over the wood on the inside to make a insulating barrier so I wouldn't have any cold bridges on the inside. And this is what it's looking like. I'm very excited about how this looks and I'm very proud of how everything came together. I had some help clamping the wires back together because I didn't have the right tonsils for that. And this is what it's looking like after 72 hours. And I think it's looking very well. I don't really like the look of how the screws are looking, but I don't know if there's a better way to do that. This is just, I guess, the way that actually seals everything in. And I'm doing an extra step. In my research about installing this thing, I have seen so many people say that you have to paint over your adhesive because keeping your adhesive out in the open, even though it is good with UV or it's good with salt water, it's getting so much influences from outside being outside all the time, that it is better to top it off with car paint. So that's what I'm doing. I'm spray painting over the adhesive. This step I've never done before. I do think that less dirt will catch on it, on the sealant. I hope in the long run this is a good idea and it's gonna look awesome. And I've seen it being said so many times that I figured, okay, this is the next step that we're just gonna do. I've never really seen this before in any video. I've just seen a lot of people on forums say it, and I've researched it. And I also, when I got this sealant, I made sure that it is a paintable sealant. So we are spray painting over the sealant. So first we are using the primer, and I put on some tape so that it's not going on the Maxxair fan itself, but it's just going on the frame and the roof. And I am priming over all of it, and I am spray painting it to be nice and shiny. So after it has been primed, it is ready to get the top coat over. This is a couple of hours later. Just shake that can very thorough to make sure that all the paint has been shaken, and then let's put on the color. This thing was really getting in my face, so I'm putting that shirt over my face as sort of a mask. And it's looking really nice. I do think this is a really nice step. I hope it's gonna be awesome forever. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. This is the before, you guys. It's horrible. And this is the after. I'm so happy that I went through all the extra steps. I'm so happy that I researched everything again. And I'm so excited about what's looking like. I am so happy I got this done before fall. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one. And in the meantime, don't forget to say yes to Newvanventures.